there's a big cue stick. He's just one of 3 tools down in the forward line for the West Coast Eagles. Kennedy and Ash Hansen, the other 2.
We're underway. Cox up against Simmons. Cochin immediately out of the middle. Toward half forward. Morton against his old team. Couldn't take the mark. At the opposite 20, Cox picks it up. Stingline. Critis. Stingline. Everyone likes to feel the leather early. Houlihan, Cox. Stingline. Critis. Getting a good old feel of it. Still mixing it up. Jones. Selwood. Wirapunda. All 18 will touch it shortly. And almost a turnover. Kerr collects it in the end after it bounced. And now Selwood.
That's a kick for anybody who's just joined us.
To Lynch, yes. And Lynch takes the mark because you can mark kicks. And he thumps it, as Quentin Lynch likes to do, towards Hansen. Flies, can't mark. Armstrong can't crumb. Players diving in left, right and centre. Wirapunda trying to get it out, and it does come out and roll toward the line, and we'll get a ball in. And don't want to stir the pot too much too early, gentlemen, but those jumpers look a little similar to
Yes.
There's the bench for Richmond. I'll ask the question again shortly, because a snap from Lacroix is through the middle. Perfect start.
Well, I was just going to mention before, with the 3-prong attack, the 3 tall fellas, it brings blokes like Wirapunda, Lacroix into the game, and West Coast will be very happy with their forward line set up. Put the pressure on, get the ball in there in mass numbers, and put the defence under pressure. Good start for West Coast.
Great start by the West Coast Eagles. After a laborious build-up through the middle, they kept it going. Rowan Smith on the boundary.
Well, Jared, Trent Cotchin's got the big job on Daniel Kerr today. So in his first season, probably on one of the prolific midfielders in the competition. So he's going to have a big day today.
Foley to McMahon, Tark. Back to McMahon, short. As I mentioned, against his old team. Big day for Mitch Morton today. 12 games, 11 goals for the West Coast Eagles. McMahon sends it towards the top of the square. Revolt tries to claim the mark. Slung. Kerr hands it up. Glass through traffic. Hunter shoots it out to Houlihan, as we know likes to run and can sprint and run all day. He's a great athlete. Turnover here though. Moore after that clever pick up to Foley. Now the captain, Kane Johnson. These jumpers look very similar, these two teams. I'll labour the point, but from a distance, both teams with white in the uniform, one with white at the jumper and one with white in the shorts. There's no white in their official colours. Patterson.
And yellow.
Yeah.
West Coast 5 kicks, 17 handballs, mate.
Patterson, short. Simmons takes the mark. Back to the place he called home for a while. Subiaco, 64 games for the Dockers.
Brown has got Jones tracking him.
And he thumps it to the top of the square, and Cox should gobble this up. Does.
What a fantastic season he has had, given that he's got the impediment of a broken bone in the foot. Not sure whether they can inject it. I doubt whether they can. And he's just continued to play at a time when I reckon a lot of people would have taken the excuse to move on and just have a rest.
2 All-Australian selectors next to me. Can he make it a 4th year in a row?
Well, he's in pretty good form, isn't he? But that one has been fumbled over the boundary line.
Jacko, is he in good enough form? This is your first year.
Yes, it is. You're asking another Western Australian to try and get Western Australians in there.
Well, you can't lose though, Jacko, because if Cox doesn't get All-Australian ruckman, Sandlin's might. Pushing the back for Wirapunda, back into the team this week. Kerr, coming off that Stingray injury, finds Lacroix in the middle. Stingrays have claimed a few victims in the last 12 months. Good that Kerr could get up and play today. Houlihan. Embley. Houlihan. The handball fun continues. Stingline got it from Braun.
But this is what they're really trying to work out. I think John Worsfold will be filthy that one went out of bounds. He'd like to get it in there as quickly as possible.
Embley to Pritis.
Still pretty crowded, but they've got the talent to bomb it in.
Now Braun bombs it. Armstrong forced to the leap. Simmons forced to crumb. So reverse rolls there. Moore And now Patterson can run, collects and goes.
Interesting, they're using both big men in the one half of the ground. Patterson just 40 metres behind Simmons, who's playing a very mobile role.
Foley got it from Tambling, sold them the dummy, runs on, chips the kick, and over the head of Cleve Hughes, who's in reasonable form at the moment. Deledio, good tackle. Kerr, play on advantage. You heard the call from the umpire. It was high. Hunter, Houlihan, Cox. West Coast Eagles a goal. Richmond still yet to score. Turnovers like that will help them. Tambling back to Jordan McMahon, and now Patterson. Kane Johnson. That's Deledio. And now Cochin. Thought about going all the way. Comes wide to Morton. Bouncing ball, and Morton can't keep it alive.
Well, it's going to be interesting, this battle between Kerr and Cochin. So far, Cochin's had a couple of kicks, with both of his Jacko have been kicking it inside forward 50, whereas Daniel Kerr's got all of his possessions back half.
Cox, a little nudge in the ruck, successful with it, although turns it over to Deledio. Shoots, oh, that's mighty high. Daniel Connors to the ear, and we'll have the first shot at goal for Richmond.
And the first interchange about to take effect, Smithy.
Yeah, that's right, Jared. I think Cochin, I think they're going to have rotate off Kerr today. A lot of the youngsters, I think, too, today. So, one comes on, one comes off.
Well, interesting interchange, because Cochin's very much an attacking player and White's very much a defensive player. Now White's got his hand up because Kerr's about to come off and he hasn't got a matchup.
And Hughes comes off and Edwards comes on. In the meantime, Daniel Connors can't kick his first goal on AFL footy, and with a kick like that, it might take him a while. This is game number 5 for him. First game of 2008 for Daniel Connors. Started on the bench today, so plenty of rotations already in this game. Cox played 7 minutes opening term. LeCras shoots the handball out and is kept in. Brown. Tuck. Mann. Now Polo can thump it along. 2-on-1 in favour of the Eagles. Embley gets back and well protected.
Well, they're just going to be a bit more mindful, Richmond, doing that. It's the second time they've bombed it in. Simmons before, Cox marked it, and on that occasion, Andrew Embley. Got to find a better way to go, because that's where West Coast mount their attack from.
Prentice had the tough task in the midfield of replacing both Cousins and Judd.
Big push out from Joel Bowden. He's going to be compromised a bit in this particular challenge he's been given. He's not tall enough. He hasn't got a big leap.
Josh Kennedy, the recipient. Can he go the distance? Tries to at least. And Hansen marks. Was it in play? Umpire says no. Have a look at this from side on. And umpire was closer than us, but we had a good angle. Reasonably good form as well. Ash Hansen, 4 goals last round against the Hawks, 4 of the West Coast's 9. Simmons called the play on, but Bowden was about a 10-metre kick. And danger here, almost Hansen, but marked by Tuck. McMahon not 15. Edwards off the bench. Late inclusion for Jake King. The late exclusion for the Tigers. And Edwards sends it wide again to Bowden. Spears the ball to Polo. Hands off to Newman. Open forward line if he thumps it along. And he does on the lead. Morton gets there first. Can't complete the mark. Did the hard work. Davis. Tackle on the boundary line. Keeps it in. Embley. Stengline. Back to Davis. Well worked. Taking the game on. Selwood. Hunter. Houlihan. Back to Hunter. Crowd like that. Now Lynch. Almost within range. Dropped it. Back to Hunter. Thumps it long. Hansen in the hole. Big fly. McMahon forced to punch. Ball hits the deck. Hansen fights on more. Clever. Use of the body. Then scooped it up. McMahon. And now to the outer side. Simmons. It's been like circle work. White. With some space. Takes on Houlihan, who's a little spent from those last 3 efforts, all the way back to Tuck. Simmons.
Not off, he's not off. There, Dean. Move it on.
Possession number 5. Troy Simmons to Delidio.
Right there, right there.
Now Patterson. So possession football to half forward, but the Tigers still yet to kick a goal. It's at this point they've had trouble. Schultz takes the mark on 50 and he might be within range. Jay Schultz back into the team for the Tigers this week. Started on the bench, so another one fresh off.
Well, he needs to go back here and back himself. He's going to kick right on 50 because West Coast have got numbers back.
So his first touch, and it's ugly. Only a behind. Had a couple of opportunities. Kerr getting some work done. What do you call that one, physiotherapist?
Must be punishment for something.
Cox.
Just having a look at young Tim Houlihan. He's had 9 possessions. Jacko, we've been going about 20-odd minutes, and he's had plenty of the footy.
Certainly has, and got a massive, well, in football terminology, a tank. Runs all day, very good in the lot of time trials at West Coast last pre-season.
In fact, he was an athlete as a kid, held records over 800 and 1500, so had to make the choice between athletics and football with Houlihan. Now Connors, little handball over the top, nice. Now McMahon can size them up and go long. Drop putt, strong but wide. Morton keeps it alive, back into the field of play. Just carried the line. Another behind.
And here's the other one getting out of the loop in defence for the Tigers. Jordan McMahon's also had a stack of the footy. He's had 7 kicks already. He gets a lot of cheap ones chipping them around, but that's his role. He can't be criticised for that. He's been asked to do that role, and if he's getting it 10 times a quarter, it's a pretty good effort.
Critis to Braun.
But those kicks, the ones that shots at goal, would count for, if it goes through, half a dozen other positions.
Stengline to Lynch, still working it around with handball. It seems to be the plan. And here's the man you spoke of. Houlihan got it from Braun. Moore flies with the fist and dumps it out of play. And speaking of Jordan McMahon, Jared, it was Jordan McMahon who was with Graham Polak along with Cleve Hughes when he was hit by the tram, and they have had a lot of counselling, and there was talk they might not line up today, but they have both lined up for the Tigers today. Jordan McMahon and Cleve Hughes. LaCroix takes it to the line and rolls it along. White sees it out.
Just with Houlihan on that inside 50, just has to open up his vision. He's having a good game now, up to 10 possessions, but Josh Kennedy was free. Had to go the option there instead of the 2-on-1 where McKinley was.
So one.
Kick.
Perfect pass. A mark taken half forward by Daniel Connors, who's had a bit of it since coming on. Brown can't take the mark. Nikoski with the crumb. Hunter. Nikoski.
That's what really hurts you. That sort of kick, it's a metre too low for Brown to take, and all of a sudden what should be a shot at goal works into a counter-attack by the Eagles, who should make them pay.
Houlihan's 10th possession to Cox, who thumps it toward the square, and LaCroix half-held, fully held if you're an Eagle.
What's that?
Drag through for a behind.
West Coast going the long ball, but there has been a couple of options before. Josh Kennedy, I mentioned, and on that time, Ash Hansen, when they're going into their forward 50, but clear free kick there against LaCroix.
Umpires for today's game: Matthew Head, Scott Jeffrey and Jacob Mollison.
Well, we've got one out the back here in Richard Tambling, and
Kelvin Moore finds him. Tambling takes off. Has been a very circle work-like game, attacking from both teams down the wings. Delidio.
once again,
Kane Johnson can't scoop it up. Quentin Lynch, he hurdled him.
He did, luckily for him, but once again just chopping the footy up, going into attack the Tigers.
Hansen short. Kennedy was the target, but hit Delidio instead. And Brett Delidio takes it out. And that will have a new look next year. That coach's box, the man in the middle and on his right will remain, Peter Sumich and John Worsfold, but Michael Voss will be in there. Wirapunda short. Davis spears the pass, but it's all Tigers. Polo can't complete the mark, gathers the crumb, mops up the mess. Patterson, Schultz. Numbers back for the Tigers, so no numbers to go to straight down the middle to fan wide. White, and now Newman. Plays on quickly to Cochin, just off the bench, and he can kick a long ball with the left this time. He sends it wide and too long for Nathan Brown.
Well, both sides are just not backing themselves to go for goal. West Coast have got to lift their vision up a little bit more. Every time they're going into their forward 50, they're kicking to a player that's 1-on-3 or outpitted against 3 Richmond players. And same with Richmond, we're going down to their forward line as well.
Lynch collecting possessions at half-back. Nikoski. Jones. Hanson. Will go out to the wing. Ruapunda. A chip-up game. Ruapunda leaves it behind. Newman shovels it to Moore. Tambling. Moore. Kane Johnson. He plays on quickly to White, but he had to wait for it. Prittis will try to shut him down and doesn't really corral him all that well. White has a bounce. Sends it to Nathan Brown. Embley's with him. And a successful spoil across the line.
But the delivery to Nathan Brown's been nothing short of appalling so far by the Tigers. They've created enough options to go inside 50 to have at least scored a couple of goals, and yet no value for their work.
Brown gathered that one, but was caught immediately. Gathers it back again. Kicks around the body. Inspirational from Nathan Brown.
Well, he's the key man. He has haunted this football club, the West Coast Eagles, a number of times he's played against them, and I guess when you're getting sloppy service, you've got to create your own opportunities, and that's exactly what Brown did. Just grabbed it instinctively. Never met too many players or seen too many players with more instinct for where the goals are than Nathan Brown.
Apart from last week.
Oh, he knew where they were.
Right. Just couldn't find
the middle of them.
Coming off an inaccurate week where he almost kicked Richmond out of it against Carlton. He kicks the Tigers into it today, Nathan Brown. 9 plays 8.
And both coaches have given up here because Cochin's now got a man, and so too has Daniel Kerr.
Simmons, a little flick down towards his opposite ruckman in Quentin Lynch, who dives in and gives a bruise or two. And Quentin Lynch was the man who tore Richmond apart last year here, round 20, the last time these two teams met. West Coast won by 31 points, and Quentin Lynch kicked 7 goals in that game. But he's not up forward at the moment, playing half-back, loose and ruck.
Jared, I think I'd mentioned to you before that it looks like they're going to rotate on Daniel Kerr, so Nathan Foley's got the job on him now.
Yep.
So a lot of the youngsters are going to go through him today.
I think Trent Cochin liked it when he was on him because they could play 30 metres away from each other.
Foley. McGuire had to give it back. That's not 15, and you heard the umpire confirm it wasn't. Johnson back to Foley. And the West Coast Eagles have numbers back now. One-on-ones ahead, heads wide. Bouncing ball that Morton, again, can't keep it alive and get a ball in. They've owned most of this quarter, the West Coast, and yet the Tigers now have the lead. Back into play. Tark knocked it down. White through traffic nicely, but couldn't find a teammate with the handball. Ebert to Armstrong to Davis, who sprints through the midfield, being hunted down by Edwards, who got him but lost him.
He's from 30 metres.
Sends it back inside 50. McKinley with the free. Well, we'll check the steps, Jared. We'll find out exactly how many he took without a bounce.
Well, nevertheless, he got it in. His coach said to get it in hard. Now, here's one bounce. There's another. I think it's this one here. Handball to himself. Well, that doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. Might count in the Gaelic game, but it doesn't count in ours. Unless, of course, someone touches it whilst it's in air, and I don't think that was touched.
Anyway, good job from Davis. He's got a good story.
Well, he's Rowan Smith's boy,
In his own right, he is. From New South Wales, who plucked him up there a couple of years ago. So they played footy for 4 years.
McKinley gives the Eagles back the lead with his first.
Well, the beauty about that passage of play was through the middle of the ground, took the game on, ran, looked up, looked his vision, took his vision up, and McKinley, well, he was one-on-one out about the 25-metre mark, and kicked it to his advantage, which put his direct opponent under enormous pressure, forcing him to put an arm around his waist. Good start from Ben McKinlay, because he needs to put scoreboard pressure if he wants to hold his position in the side and then kick goals.
We'll get Rowan Smith to explain how the rules might change next year for New South Wales AFL scholarship boys like Ryan Davis, because the AFL is about to change that system. From the ball up, Delidio. Good hands. Lifted the hands up and got the handball away to Nathan Brown, who wants the left. Comes all the way back to Moore. No one to go to. Wirapunda hunts him down, puts him off the kick. And Polo keeps it in. Tucked into the boundary line. McGrath comes at him, can't get him. Tuck. Inside 50. Glass in a one-on-one against Hughes. Used hands, but maybe in the side. Embley. McKinlay. And a player coming off, being carried off for the Tigers. Delidio looks injured and might be out for the game. Inside 50, Quentin Lynch. And he is within range.
Big turnaround once again, another slaughtering of the footy by the Tigers going inside their forward 50. They've just got to improve their possession right there. But a big turnaround, and the big Q gets a shot at goal. And if he kicks it anything like the 15 we saw, Jacko, this will go straight through the middle.
Yeah, he was certainly in good form before the game. But once again, good to see the vision looked up, that time by Ben McKinlay. Yeah, Josh Kennedy, a 20-metre kick, but he went further down. And when you've got the three-prong attack, the three tools, got to present. It puts a lot of pressure on this Richmond defence.
In practice, the ones he tried to kick hard, he missed, and the ones he kicked comfortably, he goal.
Oh, it's a bit of both.
Well, that must be the message from here on in from the West Coast Eagles match committee, as we see Quentin Lynch just in best position, playing in front of his direct opponent, is to go to goal, is through the middle of the ground, use the ball, and have good paces, which will have demonstrated in the 3 goals they've kicked so far.
Well, he'd be pretty happy getting that first one away. First shot out of the locker, and he's confident.
Brett Delidio on the bench after being carried off by trainers. Rowan Smith to give us an update there shortly as well. 20 plays 9. Richmond on the ropes in the opening round. Wilkes. The handball out through traffic. Braun dives in. Playing like every game's his last now, because every game might be his last. Announced his retirement during the week. Jacko, will it be his last, or will he play a few as we have a look at Delidio's injury? Yeah.
Boys, it's definitely his right ankle. He can't put any pressure on it. The doctors and physios are talking to him now, but it doesn't look too good for him actually at the moment.
Smithy, keep your eye on the Richmond forward line. I don't reckon the 3 young tools he got down there, Rewald, Hughes and Morton, are working hard enough to clear space and give a genuine target.
Well, a few weeks ago, Cleve Hughes was working his butt off against Port Adelaide and kicked 6 goals. So, yeah, he's just not working hard enough, and Darren Glass is on top of him at the moment.
That's why he's already had a spell on the bench. So Braun will play the season out, Jacko?
Yeah, I think he will. I think that's his intention, and I think West Coast probably need him given the injuries that they've got. So still a role for him to play between now and round 22.
Ball almost taken away by Armstrong, wrapped up by Patterson. We'll get another ball up.
And in saying that, Dwayne, I think the pressure's off now. He's made a clear decision in his life. He knows that the end is near, and I guess some of the stress will go out. They know they're not going to play finals football, and he, could play some good football between now and round 22 and teach some of the young kids.
It's a bad sign for Brett Delidio, being carried from the bench down to the rooms. Can't put any pressure on that ankle at all. And he has been still only 21 years of age, player who's had a slow and steady rise in this game, which is a different story to some that shine, crash and burn, but Brett Delidio slowly getting better with age.
Let it go.
Bo Wilkes is doing a great job. He's trying to drag his direct opponent, which is Adam Patterson, the second ruckman for the Tigers, away from the contest and away from the hole. He's making Patterson really work hard for his oxygen.
So free in the ruck. Was it to Nikoski off the ball or to Cox?
Cox.
Back around, Dane.
Okay.
Dane, back around.
Can he kick it from there, Jacko? No. Okay.
Brett Breeze, maybe.
Well, thought about it, then faked. Touched, tuck, Brown, Simmons, tuck. If they don't argue to Kerr, he won't like that. Got away with it. And now Hughes does work hard. Works up to the wing and takes the mark. Kane Johnson, Nathan Brown. Backwards against Kerr. Back to Kane Johnson. Open forward line now. Mitch Morton leads back. He's leading and he's almost got it. Just edged under it by Stingline cleverly with his chest. And Stingline elects not to take it out. He's got the numbers. Nikoski, they can fan to the open side. Even the man who Wirapunda said in the press today might captain the side in a couple of years. Chip kicks to the midfield. Lynch.
Well, there's a difference. One hit a target. Kane Johnson missed his. Morton did the lead.
2 on 1 and Hanson bets the 2. Kennedy leads short. On the move. Almost, but he got the free regardless. Chopped the arm according to umpire Matthew Head. Good crowd in here at Subiaco. Stuck with their West Coast Eagles. Armstrong, speaking of sticking with it, fights on to win that ball, but kicks it out on the full.
I know it's only the first quarter, but West Coast have been pretty happy with the forward movement of the 3 big players up there. They're getting their hands on it. Hanson, we've seen Lynch come up the ground. We've seen Josh Kennedy get multiple leads and not been rewarded on some of them, but slowly getting himself into the game, which is a good sign for John Morsfeld and his match committee.
Schultz, Johnson, Newman all combined to get it to centre half back. Now McGuan. Luke McGuan back in this week, held up. Kelvin Moore. Kinlay being told where the mark is, and that's hard for Connors. Out of play. Shadows of quarter time here. Seconds tick. Time for a clearance. Foley rolls it forward. Hunter could have cut it off and stopped any chance. And Glass needs to shoot this forward. Braun cut down. Seconds continue to tick. And no chance of a mark up forward for the West Coast, even though the ball was thumped to attacking 50 as the siren blew. There'd be reason to do that unless you were thinking of bringing it back on. From the ball up, second term underway. Tambling dives in and Selwood dived on him. Got him too high. And no one on the mark, so Tambling plays on. Johnson, sweeping kick. Wilkes just edges Bowden out of it so Glass could collect it, but Hunter, he goes instead. Handball's low. Edwards, the tuck. Critis drags him down. No holding the ball, no in the back. Kerr to Glass. Working along the boundary line, Houlihan, Selwood, well worked as well. Wirapunda, Braun, now into the midfield and open territory. Kennedy.
Got Emily's pushed forward.
And he can go all the way if he marks it, he can't. And Moore was there to cut it off. So another poor disposal and a turnover. Johnson and Moore combined to get it wide to Bowden.
That's one of the most important kicks in football now, that forward entry just outside 50, because if you don't hit the target and get it right, the ball at a blink of an eyelid will be down at the other end of the ground.
Revolt long and a collision coming up, although Schultz got there and made it look easy.
It's a good kick in.
Well,
and this bloke is quite comfortable kicking long distances. Accuracy will be an issue, but Jack Riewoldt has taken the game on by way of risking losing the footy by spearing it in. And there he is. He'll be back, Dwayne.
Zelidio's fine all of a sudden. Jay Schultz. From the paint of the 50. Keeps it low. And more importantly, keeps it straight. Opening goal of the second term to the Tigers.
Well, Gerard, I mentioned it. Andrew Emily looked like taking a mark and should have been having a shot on goal, but that's where you mount your attack, is from the half-back line, and if you turn the ball over, you can hurt the opposition because the numbers won't be back and you'll have loose men everywhere, and that was a perfect kick to target to his advantage, and much needed goal. They had 14 inside 50s in the first quarter, Richmond, for only 1 goal. So they'll be looking for a better output in this second quarter.
Five-point margin. West Coast Eagles lead. A little bit of sunshine here at Subiaco. Simmons in the ruck. Gathers his own work. Kicks to half forward, and Richmond have got that open forward line set up where no one starts on the flanks. Wilkes with a handball. Embley can't gather. Cochin dives in with Houlihan. Cochin brilliant. Then left it behind. Houlihan with the wing tackle caught. And Cochin back in hard, wrapped up.
That was actually
and we get a ball up.
He drew his hand back to punch it and suddenly grabbed his hand, which, given that he was on his knees, left him in difficulty getting rid of it.
Only his 8th game, Trent Cochin, but he's really started to stamp his name from the ball up. No one able to get it free. Prittis dives in, scoops it out. McMahon cuts it off, and Foley takes off. Shoots it toward attacking 50, and Revolt got there first. Maybe too far out to score. Nathan Brown calls for a back long.
50.
And it is 50.
Did call him to go back on the line, and
so the Tigers will take the lead. Well, you would think the Tigers would take the lead. Has made longer putts. Jack Revolt. Take 2. So the Tigers take the lead here at Subiaco. Still arguing the point. But you saw it early, Jacko.
well, he did call him back. He said it was clear, the umpire, in his explanation, back on the line, meaning the 50-metre line, and he came back half a step and he wasn't on the line. So the umpire
was stiff, Jacko, because there was a line there. So the umpire had a reference point. He only went over by 6 or 7 inches or half a step. Bit stiff. Big penalty. Tigers back in it.
This is the biggest lead Richmond have had of the game. They led by a behind earlier on. Ball up. Cox slaps it down. Foley, who's fighting in hard. Simmons, Tuck, White, and now wide. Was that a pass, a hand pass, or a pass off? Johnson extracts it. Gives to Schultz. They're inspired at the moment, Richmond. Captain back to Foley. Getting plenty of it. Possession number 11.
Well, Joe Schultz is pushing right up the ground. He's playing in defence. He's following his man up, and if he gets up there, he's prepared to keep going. And we saw him kick a goal not long ago.
Revolt gets it from Schultz, and plenty of West Coast Eagles and Richmond bodies ahead of him. Called to play on and tries the torpedo. It's a wobbler. Tuck marks it.
He's got good hands, Tuck.
He's been a survivor. Terry Wallace was set to dump him at the end of the 2004 season. Shane Tuck gave him another chance. Dumped by the club that his father played for. 426 games for Hawthorn. He was on their rookie list for a couple of seasons. And they have started this second term brilliantly, Richmond. Tuck's first.
Well, let's take a look at the build-up, because they look like very quick hands from the Tigers. There's one, and a little give, and it's set it up. So Tuck's done some pretty quick work, because he's pushed down all the way to there to pick up the mark and goal.
Well, they've got good control, Richmond, by getting their hands on the ball first, and got their running game going through the middle of the ground. Good options up forward, so West Coast got to get the momentum back.
Tigers have a 7-point lead. Got plenty to play for. The door to the 8 open. A couple of those in 7th and 8th spot. 6th and 7th spot have lost this round. Wells couldn't collect it. Almost gives the free away. Does give the free away. Joel Bowden's ball at half forward.
It's been a horror start. Tigers just dominating possession, dominating clearances in this turn.
Just required 15.
A bit more accountable, West Coast. 3 goals in a row.
Johnson to full forward. Revolt!
Not a good spell.
Just outside the goal square and should kick his second goal of the term.
Right there.
And extend this margin to the biggest margin of the game so far.
No further in. In line with me. Parallel. There.
Push it out to 13 points, and he pushes the kick a little bit, but it squeezes home. Revolt has two.
Well, you like that kick, Jared, to the top of the square. Give your forwards the best chance playing in front, and lifted his vision up there, the skipper, Kane. He looked up. He was going to go for a short option, but when you've got a bloke that's, I guess, in marking form, you've got to give it to him all the time. Kick it to his advantage. He's playing in front. Very hard to combat that as a defender. You're either going to get outmarked or you're going to give the free kick away, and that's a fantastic mark. 4 in a row here, West Coast against them. Pressure's back on them. They've got to man up and be a bit more accountable through the middle of the ground.
West Coast Eagles' confidence must be a little shaky, coming off 5 losses in a row.
Pretty good company took that mark in, Jack.
Yeah,
and Hunter behind and Glass bearing down the front.
From the ball up, again the Tigers with the clearance. Edwards, kick off the side. Cleve Hughes gets there first. Glass, Hughes beats him. Hands up to Brown. Can kick them from here. Spins it around. Edwards got back, couldn't mark, and kicked through for a behind by Hunter.
Lucky the umpire recognised the colour of the jumper there, because he could have got mistaken. That could have been a Richmond kick, and that did happen against West Coast many, many years ago, Dwayne. I think it was Tony Evans who kicked the ball through against Carlton at Princes Park, and it was awarded a Carlton goal. West Coast lost by 2 points.
Hanson, Jude Lindsay in control of the AFL at the moment, in the absence of Adrian Anderson. Hopefully she'll have a look at this little clash we have here today.
Good to see Jacko. Good to see Jacko lets things go, though.
Oh, well,
After 15 years, it's still kicking him awake at night.
Hanson's kick touched. Oh, free kick against McMahon for a high collision. And McKinlay will take it. It was accidental. Oh, yeah, a little slap to the ear. I wouldn't have paid those free kicks back in that particular day you were talking about, Jacko.
There were a few of them going around too, don't worry about that.
They need this. There's an understatement. Ben McKinlay, 22 goals, 9 for the season. He is a sharpshooter. Already won so far. Touched through by McGuan.
Nice kicking style there, Jerry. We saw that before the game, both him and Quentin Lynch, Josh Kennedy, and they certainly were kicking them straight. It was a nice kick. A little bit outside his range, but just got to keep that form up, keep presenting. He's certainly is a very good goal kicker, much needed goal kicker for West Coast, mind you.
That's a brilliant kick from Chris Newman.
Speared at Cochin right on the boundary line.
That's one area where they've dominated or lifted their rating, Richmond, is their foot skills. Starting to hit targets, whereas in the first quarter, they were very poor in that area.
McMahon along the line, and that's a mark as well to Kane Johnson.
Spot on, Jacko. They maintain possession so much better. And this bloke really chops it up.
Cochin to Connors. McMahon.
Nice kick.
Again, a good pass, and White takes off. Chips the kick inside 50. He was hoping for Morton, and cleverly taken out by Jones. Made it look accidental, but we all know that was his intention as soon as he gathered. And the ball in. They need to reset the West Coast. Palm down from Patterson. Cox. Kick smothered. It's a handball. Foley. Caught by Silver
at the back here.
White. And now Edwards. Some time and needs it all. Chips the pass, and Nathan Brown.
The 15. Just on if it was. They were lucky there, the Tigers, because Nathan Foley just dribbled one out with one hand. Looked like he'd taken possession. But this is a smart kick.
It was a good play, Jared, by Shane Edwards, because he just went away from the stoppage and created space, found himself by himself.
Yep.
And Nathan Brown kicks his first of the evening.
Might have got one early, Dwayne. I might have done it to there. I've changed the stats over for the second quarter only.
Is that why it only read one?
That's right.
Thanks for that.
He's kicked his first for the quarter. But the Tigers are on fire, and you'll just have a look at those second quarter only stats, and they are dominating. 40 possessions to 20, 5 goals, 1 to the 1 behind.
That stats page is flicked back. He's got 2. Nathan Brown got 2 bags of 7 against the West Coast. Nathan Brown, he has kicked some big bags against them, but those 2 bags of 7 whilst playing for the Western Bulldogs. One of them here at Subiaco, though, so he knows what they are here. And this has been an outstanding second term so far for the Tigers. If you've just joined us, the West Coast led by 11 points at quarter time.
And the Eagles have pushed over Wirrapunda back as a spare across half back, and that's left Chris Newman by himself in defence as well.
Tuck with the free.
But they've got to get the ball going away from the stoppages. They are getting belted at the moment.
McMahon to Polo, and now Bowden. Shrugs Jones, pops it inside 50, and Morton takes the mark. Plays on, kicks to full forward. That's a gem! One of the goals of the round.
Well, we spoke about one area of the game they've improved is their foot skills. The other area is their air of confidence in this second quarter, playing on raw cost with confidence there, just to break an easy tackle, but just played on here, and that's what you need to do when you've got a side on the ropes as Richmond have got West Coast. They've kicked 6 unanswered goals.
Thanks, Jonesy. Straight out.
6-goal quarter so far for Richmond. On the boundary line, Rowan Smith.
Well, Jared, you mentioned that they're winning contests of footy around the stoppages, but their run from defence, the Eagles at the moment have got Kennedy, Lynch, McKinley and Hanson, all talls.
Too big?
Yeah, it's too big, and they're running the ball out too easily, the Richmond Footy Club.
Nathan Brown hands off to Patterson, who's the runner from the wing. Wirrapunda in the hole. Saving mark. I need someone to stand tall at the moment. Houlihan. And now Cox. Simmons called back. Wirrapunda calls to centre half back. Now Jones.
Got to get some light run going again now, the Eagles. Just stagnant.
Hunter from behind. Good punch from Bowden.
But there's
just punch it away. Punched it to Schultz.
Well, when they go that extra man in defence, as Wirrapunda has gone back, they somewhat become a little bit dysfunctional. Now that they're a bit top-heavy with the 3 forwards, somewhat robotic going the forward line, stagnant, no movement. In the first quarter, they had a lot of movement.
Jones to Lacroix. Sends it inside 50, but it's touched. No mark to be paid here, and no prior opportunity will get a ball up.
Well, that's a win for West Coast in the sense that it was touched because they were outnumbered. I mean, that was a panic kick to a contest where West Coast were outnumbered 2 to 5. So it's a win for them, but if they continue to do that inside their forward 50, they will get smashed.
Lynch almost throws it away, in fact, holding the ball against Quentin Lynch. Umpire said he had prior opportunity there. I'm not sure he did. He grabbed it, was grabbed, but because he's big and muscly, the umpires believe, well, surely he could have got a hand free. White. McMahon.
Even
a good day at the office.
Even you don't believe that, Tom.
Well, I think he had no prior opportunity whatsoever then. Brown. Called to play on Nathan Brown. Pops it wide. Daniel Connors. He's called to play on. Quentin Lynch. He runs straight through the big man. Has a bounce. Wirrapunda shields his eyes from the sun and takes the saving mark again. It's Groundhog Day. Forced to go back into the hole and do that again today. Runs himself into trouble. It's the free from the back. Got out of it.
Here's the mark to Wirrapunda.
Almost a trademark of his career. Wilkes. Bounces down the half-back flank. Short towards Kennedy, but over his head. Terrible kick.
Well, went the other way. He went towards goal instead of going up the ground to the footy.
Lost all direction, West Coast going to the forward line. What looked promising in the first quarter, where they had a bit of a system, has gone out the window.
Moore to McMahon. Bounce pass. Morton couldn't trap it, then traps Stengline. Ball comes free. Prittis handed it to Wirrapunda. Dragged down by Newman. No free. Grab on it in the back. Tuck wanted the ball, gave it up to Newman. And now long to Hughes. He's on his own. Can stroll in. Easy as you like. An 8-goal quarter so far for Richmond.
Well, you've got to hit your targets. West Coast have had their chances when using the ball, but look, they're just not winning the 50-50s now. Richmond have lifted their work rate, their skill level, but when an opposition get a run on now, it's 8 goals or 7 goals straight for the quarter. You've got to play accountable football. You've got to go back and man up your direct opponent.
What was so promising?
Deledio doing some work in the rooms, and that knee gets better and better. He might be back on in the second half. An amazing transformation in this game. Cox knocks it down. Wilkes to Davis. Sends it wide. Kennedy.
Just the bloke got to get in. He's a workhorse. He'll work for you, but he needs some delivery. And there's been none coming into the forward line with any sort of purpose whatsoever.
McKinlay is within range, and as we mentioned earlier, is an accurate kick. Five goals here in the loss in round 5 against Port Adelaide. Won himself a NAB Rising Star nomination.
You got a couple, mate? Yep, just in line with me, Chris.
3rd season on the list for the old Ivanhoe boy. Nice off the boot. It's drifting, and it's took it across the face.
Well, a much promising forward thrust by West Coast. Went their key forwards in Josh Kennedy and then McKinlay, but the space was open for McKinlay to lead in. They've got to continue to leave that space open.
Jeez, it's just way too easy getting that ball out.
Schultz, as we tick into time on second term, just strolls his way down the outer side. Got himself into a little bit of trouble, but Bowden was there to help him out. Simmons. Tuck. Oh, a throw! Well, he seemed to punch it off the palm of his hand, and 50 for the abuse. Well, they needed some luck, the West Coast. There's a piece of it. A big piece.
That's a handball.
It's a handball.
It's a shocking decision from the umpire.
Jacob Mollison, one of the relatively new umpires.
That's your line. Not going to tolerate that abuse, Shane.
So, a double whammy here. Tuck had a right to voice his disapproval with that decision. Not too sure what word he said, whether it was rhyming slang, but a chance for a goal, a result from it, and McKinley slides it through. Sliding doors.
Well, unusual circumstance, but you've got to now build something from it, Gerald.
You do. No one deserves personal abuse, but there's no question a player was entitled to have a crack on the back of that decision.
Absolutely.
Because that was a shocker.
Well, when he sees the replay, the umpire during the week, he'll know that whatever was said, that maybe he was right.
Tell you what, he may be like us, so this game needed something to go right for the Eagles because he was fast fading away, so we'll give him some slack.
And that jumper, number 32 umpiring jumper, has copped some abuse over the years. Hope you're enjoying it at home, Goldie, if you're watching. Lynch about to go at it with Simmons.
Nice tap, nice control.
Edwards couldn't break free with it, but Tuck does. Simmons kick smothered. Davis couldn't collect it. Newman collects him. Brown. Free kick. And it'll come back to Chris Newman against Hanson. Bright sunshine now at Subiaco. It's beaming down. Edwards couldn't collect. Selwood does. West Coast on the rebound. LaCroix, rolling ball. The big man Cox. Little man Newman. Little man always beats a good big man. Hands it off McMahon. And numbers in the midfield. Tuck called out of it. Simmons call as well from White.
Pushed hard forward.
Simmons marks, hands off the Revolt. Thumps it inside 50 and almost but not quite sting line. Did enough though. Kicked it to Wilkes. Strong hands with a tumbling ball. But Wirrapunda out wide. He ignored it. Braun. Now Jones. He thumps it long and high. One-on-one and beaten for it. LaCroix by Polo.
There's just no creativity there, Jacko. The forwards have got to run a bit wide to get the backmen off their line, surely.
Ben McKinlay, he's the player that's in form at the minute. He's kicked 2 goals. He was creating space and just your vision. It was a 2-on-1 to the smallest bloke in LaCroix. You don't want that long kick going to him. You want it to go to the tall forwards.
Simmons finds Daniel Connors, who finds Tambling, who can play on here. Revolt calls for it. Tambling might go the journey, sends it long. Delightful Richard Tambling. Kicked 4 in a term against the West Coast last year. Turns them on again today.
Well, the one message that Richmond have given out to West Coast is if you're going to turn it over in your back half, we're going to make you pay for it. And they certainly have done that in this last quarter by good ball skills, good foot skills, and then playing on Tambling on that occasion. I mean, he's a quality player when it comes to kicking a goal on the run. But Martinokoski shouldn't have not gone to ground and allow him to continue to play on. Concede he's going to take the mark, but protect the mark and get him to play on around you.
A few Tiger fans here at Subiaco. Richard Tambling's first goal of the afternoon. And from the ball up. Little palm down. Dangerous 5 minutes coming up here to half-time. As the West Coast Eagles at the moment are on the campus, speaking of putting players down. Now, Delidio came back on, and Glass made sure that he knew there's a game of footy on. He wouldn't get away with that sore knee without an early test.
Well, he needs a few teammates to get as physical, Darren Glass, because they are getting run off Subiaco at the moment.
Cochin inside 50, and the mark taken by Morton.
Well, I'm just going to keep praising their foot skills. They're giving their forwards every opportunity, Jared. That's why they're enjoying this 8-goal, possibly 9-goal quarter. Leading forwards, running the division, the ball carrier, but it's up to the ball carrier to make sure it puts it in his advantage. The best advantage for the forward to take the mark. And Richmond have been displaying that very nicely in this second quarter.
Still pushing and shoving. Mitch Morton, originally a father-son selection for the West Coast Eagles. Left town, now back in town.
Well, at the moment, Jacko, the clearance figures are 11-1 in this term. They've lifted their work rate around the clearances. They've run forward unimpeded. There's been very little defensive pressure from the West Coast, and therefore the Richmond skill level has gone through the roof. And they have laid the foundations of a hiding. West Coast have got a few minutes to fix it up.
2 goals in the term for Mitch Morton, and some worries for that man. In fact, all those men. 15th on the ladder, the West Coast Eagles, and the wooden spoon. Still a genuine possibility. Cox takes it out of the air, and McKinlay left it behind, and White steals it.
Well, McKinlay took his head off the ball because he was should have had it there, balls at his feet. He's chopped it up.
Delidio, knee looks okay there. Attacked it hard, took the mark.
He said the line again, and this time he listened.
He likes that line. Strapping on the knee. Big kick, this. And that's a load up. He has hit that like a sweet kiss. Delidio's back.
And that is a victory, Dwayne, for the magic spray. It's been working for years, Jacko.
Oh, and the tape.
And the tape.
Well, Matty White, fantastic evasive skills in a confined area. Take the game on. That's the confidence of the Richmond Football Club at the minute. This is champagne football from them. It's probably one of the best quarters they've had for the year. And to have a leading forward, he's certainly tested his knee. And that's a fantastic goal after his injury to come back on.
Brett Delidio injured the knee, went off, came on, has kicked a goal, and 3 minutes and 16 from half-time. The West Coast Eagles in danger of being put out of this contest before half-time. And the ball up, Edwards attacked it, so too Braun, no free to Braun. Got one a little high. Ebert, Kerr, back to Braun, who gets it regardless. Hansen's on the move, maybe too far out to score. Plays on quickly. Terrible kick to try and mark. Schultz takes the mark. Opportunity lost for the West Coast. Kane Johnson, and they can sense there's not long left. 28 minutes now on the clock on the scoreboard. The Tiger players can see that. McMahon, 2 minutes 40 on our clock.
Not the bad on run. I think Terry Wallace will be pretty happy with Jay Schultz's afternoon so far.
And that's the thing, Jared. They've put Jay Schultz down back and they've put a lot of runners. I've said it before, they're run out of defence, but Jay Schultz's ability to take marks and then feed off to the runners has been sensational today.
Well, they won here by 10 goals in round 4. The Tigers against Fremantle. They don't mind coming here. 70 plays 28, and Delidio through traffic. He could go the journey here. Showed the ball to Glass. Terrible kick to Revolt. Still inside 50 though, and the Tigers can cause a ball up and regroup.
What a fantastic work, Jacko, after the smother to take it through the pack.
Well, he's going all right at the knee now.
Well, he must have pinched a cartilage or done something which created a fierce amount of immediate pain.
Revolt takes the mark. Simmons, the quick kick around the body. And this amazing transformation in this game continues. 11-point leaders at quarter time, the West Coast Eagles. And they're staring in the face of an 11-goal term. Jack Revolt can kick this goal.
They had another bad second quarter at the start of the year. I think it was against Carlton here. It was against Carlton, and this is another bad second quarter, which has cost them the game.
It was a false good first quarter, though, because Richmond kept giving the ball back to them with their poor kicks. They fixed that up, and so has the scoreboard.
Oh, this is a true bad quarter. This will be top of the top 10 bad quarters.
Let's have another look at the Brett Delidio smother and then clearance. There he is, off and running, just doesn't fire it up with the kick. What qualifies as your worst bad quarter, Dwayne?
Well, whatever quarter was that's worse than your last bad quarter. 3 goals to Revolt for the term.
Had a big game.
Fans have made the journey, and so far so good for Richmond. 3 goals for the term for Revolt, and still time for another one. From the ball up, Prittis lays the tackle, drags down Cochin, drags the ball away. He's in turn dragged down. We'll get another ball up, and the West Coast will be pretty happy for this 1 minute and 8 to elapse. Although John Worsfold might have a few things to say at half-time. And the ball up. Tackle on Selwood. Got the kick away. Embley just throws it in the air and hope. McMahon cut it off. Newman. Nathan Brown pokes it wide. Not wide enough for Kane Johnson, and Embley takes the mark. Wirapunda. Maybe time for a West Coast score. Chips it wide, and Polo gets there and knocks it across the line.
McKinlay was there for a long time. I mean, that's when your confidence isn't down. You had a look at it. Was he going to do it or not? He finally did, but it was an up and under kick. He just had to get that kick quicker to McKinlay, because McKinlay is the only forward that's really threatening Richmond. He's finding good space around the forward 50.
Tarkin Prittis try and tie it up. Arms and legs everywhere. It's like a game of Twister. And we'll get a ball up on 50.
Thanks, guys. Well better. Thanks, Richard. Don't lock arms, guys.
Quick bounce in the congestion. Seconds tick. Hunter. Kane Johnson shoots it up. Tigers with numbers back. Jones chased down Revolt, who was all the way down at half-back helping out. And one last chance for the West Coast. 17 seconds left on the clock. Cox ties up, knocks it down to Nikoski. Good tackle, got the handball up. Embley's kick smothered. Great effort. Nathan Brown hands it up to Ledio. And he just thumps it long. And a half-time here brings murmurs and disappointment. Full house virtually at Subiaco. They've come to see their West Coast Eagles try and play their season out, but at the moment
start to get some footy out.
Well, they're 15th on the ladder as we speak. Jacko, they've never won, your team, a wooden spoon, and they could be bottom of the ladder tonight. Could be a history-making time for the West Coast if they don't dig themselves out of this hole. From the ball up, free kick out of the ruck. Ruckman don't know whose it is. It's Prittis is free. So it wasn't a ruck infringement, it was off the ball. He sends it long. Hansen, little nudge under the ball. Well played by Schultz, where Ponda tries for Selwood, slipped. Foley drops it, tackled by Ebert, and gets the free. Hansen dived into it.
Dangerous sit there from Adam Selwood.
Foley short. Deledio, who, if you've just joined us, went off with what looked like a crippling knee injury in the opening half, only to come back on and kick an inspirational goal, and he's off and running. A little bit of magic spray and tape, and he's fine to McMahon. And now McGuan. And if you have just joined us, the West Coast led by 11 points at quarter time. Wide ball. Moore. There was barely a spare seat here at Subiaco when they bounced the ball for this one. And stunned silence in the crowd at the moment. McMahon about to drive it straight down the middle. Spears the pass. Nicely measured pass as well to Edwards. Tark. Morton flies, no free. Brown almost slipped himself out of play. Back towards Morton. No prior opportunity there. Ball up.
Wasn't one of Brownie's finest, that one. Could have gone with the right foot. Ended up going with a blind handball and straight to put a mate under pressure.
Cox ripped it out of the air but turned it over. Morton is having a nice day out against his old team. McMahon, perfect pass. Edwards can't get there. Does on the bounce. Handballs over the head. It was called a throw in the opening half. Polo back to Edwards. He ducked into that, went down when he felt the contact.
Good decision.
Tambling hands it up. Polo from the pocket. Edwards just the required 15, although the crowd there with their tape measures out don't believe it. Shane Edwards, late inclusion with Jake King out for the Tigers. Came over as an emergency, and now he's emerging.
Well, they're continuing to dictate terms to West Coast here. They're just waiting. They're reactive, West Coast.
Can he stretch the margin beyond 8 goals? Across the face. Only a behind that is stretched beyond 8 goals, but only by that behind. Here's the one over the head, and umpires have obviously discussed that at halftime. The one was paid a throw. That looked more throwish than the other one.
It looked a hell of a lot more like a throw because he
threw it away as he hit it.
It was propelled by the other hand.
Nikoski to Houlihan. For those kids at home, just have to hit it off your palm. It doesn't matter which way your palm is facing. Houlihan back to Embley. Stagnant, ugly West Coast Eagles at the moment. Kerr. Deledio, Prittis, Jones, back to Kerr. Maybe he can inspire them. Centering kick. Embley takes off to the open side. Lets Hunter run. It's all about the bounce for Hunter and Wirrapunda, who collects it. Hunter runs on. Wirrapunda kicks it longer to Lynch. Good build up this. Just need to complete an inside 50.
And maybe, Dwayne, they'll just take something out of this rather than trying to handball your way through the maze, try and kick your way through, because the handball hasn't been working.
Hanson's hands weren't quite working there. Willie's kick, bends it around. McKinlay takes the mark. Something to cheer about for the West Coast fans. Finally.
It started with the kick. Kerr decided to go wide and get the ball with 3 kicks out to Wembley, then long, and then the big long kick in and a goal.
Well, that's his third goal. He's obviously the forward that's threatening, the only forward threatening. The other ones that need to get in the game is Lacroix and Armstrong. They've got to get amongst it, and David Rapunda. Just get to some front and squares and pinch a few goals, get themselves into the game and create some excitement on the forward line. Because at the minute it's just one man, 5 goals, he's kicked 3 of them, and they need more options to kick goals.
Three goals now for Ben McKinlay. 3 of the 5. 24 goals for the season. 24 goals, 9. So an accurate year for McKinlay. Foley threads his way through and bounces away. West style. Thought about going the journey. Hands it over to Revolt. Coming off a great opening half. And he nails it.
Jeez.
The instant reply. He has 4.
He's having a blinder, is Jack, but that clearance at the centre, it all came about because Adam Selwood was thinking that Cox was going to win the tap. And Nathan Foley continued the ball watch, and he was first onto it, and away he went. Got those little feet moving, and Jack Rewell continues his fine outing. Be one of the Tigers' best so far tonight.
Came into this game with only 14 goals for his career. Jack Revolt, from his 18 games so far, he's got 4. And the day is young. Kerr. And by the way, so is Revolt. Good young player, just starting to emerge. And that's exactly what the Tigers need, some stars for the future. Terry Wallace is a genius, 83 to 34. They should sign him for 5 years from the ball up. Tuck. Can't quite get it out. You can throw a tarp over 20 of them. We'll get a ball up.
I think the message has been sent to Queensland, to Vossi. Bring your boots.
When does he join them? Because there was a report in the paper he might be advising already in the next couple of weeks. They need him. Cochin with the free.
Hope he didn't start last night.
Revolt.
He's having a fantastic match and a good last 6 or 7 weeks.
Pokes the pass, and Morton can't mark. Likes to play on anyway. Hands to Brown, and he slides it through. It is party time. Brown has 3.
Well, they just kept the ball alive in their forward line, played on at all costs. They've got a lot of confidence. See the free kick there. Stephen Kerr. Well, it wasn't against him, he was down underneath the ground. But Mitch Morton, he's enjoying his return back to Subiaco Oval. He's presented well, led up with Rewalt. That man there, Nathan Brown, he doesn't miss him when he's on the run. They've created a formidable forward line for Richmond.
And how things change. 6 or 7 behinds, if you like, last week. Last game, Nathan Brown, and now 3 goals straight for this game. From the ball up, perfect palm down. Critters caught by Tark. Campbell misses the target. Polo likewise missed his target. Collected by Foley. Gives to Connors. 4 metre kick wide to White. Simmons. Polo.
Right there, Andrew. Thank you.
Tucks the against the boundary line.
Mine.
And a kick forward marked by Hunter. To Kerr. And he turns it over. Nathan Brown almost collected instead by Bowden. He's got 2 options and under it more.
Kerr's in reported.
So 50 metres, Kerr on Cleve Hughes. Cleve Hughes having a word to him.
He's he's in a bit of trouble, Daniel.
Is he?
Straight in front.
Yeah, he's had a brain freeze here because he's kicked the ball. He's realised he's made a mistake, but boys, this replay is not going to help him at all.
So Morton has 3 and Kerr has problems.
A bit of leadership there by Dean Cox. He knew he wasn't going to get in there.
Oh, yeah.
Now, that is leadership. Daniel Kerr has to grow up because this side is now becoming embarrassing. And with things like that, that hurts the supporters, it hurts the football club. And we've seen it during the week, we've seen it. He came out and he apologised about it, but we're going to hear a lot more about that during the week.
So a big week for the match review panel. There it is on.
He made the mistake, okay, but he knew he wasn't going to get in the contest, so he had to take someone out. That's
So
just
took White out,
that's thuggerish, it's undisciplined, and it's costing his side.
I'll give you another look at that because he hasn't been reported yet. Kerr dives in knowing that it might well be his last game for a little while.
Thanks, guys. Easier.
Here it is again.
Let everyone up. Thank you. Thanks, Daniel. Daniel. Check, guys. Check, please.
He was in doubt for this game, of course, Daniel Kerr. Now he's in doubt for the next one. Tuck slaps it down in the Tambling direction, can't trap it even. He's tried hard and has already worked under Michael Voss at the AIS. Brett Ebert, so he's about to work under him again. Wirapunda on the end of Hurlihan's pass.
Right,
95-34. They've lost their last 5 games, the West Coast, staring at 6 losses in a row, staring at their first ever wooden spoon for this club. The bookmakers might even have them favourite if they drop below Melbourne for a percentage tonight. Wirapunda try and help their cause, as he has so often done.
Well, it was a very good forward entry that time. A moving forward, a small forward. I guess it was a bit of a mismatch, but the way that it came in with a bit of pace, he looked up, nice kicking. And now what they've got to do is get back-to-back goals, get a bit of momentum and throw a few things around, try a few things, because they're not going to win this game. But what they can do is play for the jumper and a bit of pride, and that's what they need to do.
Jump with your eyes on the footy. Don't push him in, Trent.
95 plays 40. Back underway. Patterson in the ruck now. Prittis. He ducked in and was lucky.
Got his head over the footy. No. I know it's an accident. Yeah. Matty, you right?
Yeah. Free kick was definitely there. And Johnson caught him high. Hunter to Braun. He thumps it long. Wirapunda in a one-on-one. Fist from Polo is good. McMahon handballs it free to Connors. Another player in this Tiger lineup playing to keep his spot has been good today. Revolt, another possession. Cochin has been lively. Foley, another good game for him. And he takes off. He looks around, looks at Embley in the eyes, and takes them all on.
Says it all.
Delightful. Highlight of the afternoon.
Well, I'm not taking anything away from his play. That's good play, but they just stopped running West Coast there.
Yeah.
Got to come to him. Someone has to come into his face and run front on, but they all ran away from him, thinking he was going to kick it, but he sensed that no player was going to come to him. Kicks a fantastic goal, but that's been the play that Richmond have taken on. They know that West Coast's confidence is shattered, and they question their authority, their credibility at the minute.
They're questioning their ability to chase and their want to chase.
Nice to be a fly on the wall in that box. Listen to their conversation.
Keep it up.
From the ball up.
It's out. Play on.
Foley couldn't break free. Cochin has it. Can't break through. Trent Cochin, by the way, whose father Peter was outspoken before last year's draft last summer when Trent went in the draft and said that he hopes his son doesn't go to a team that has troubles like the West Coast Eagles. It was a big headline in the Melbourne papers, and Richmond picked Trent Cotchin. Didn't come to the West Coast, and his career is just starting to blossom. LaCroix sends it long. Kennedy, and you can't mark it. And we'll get a ball in. Josh Kennedy's had a tough time of it in his career too. Spent his entire life trying to avoid wooden spoons. Last 2 years at Carlton, and now with the West Coast. He might win his second in 3 years. From the ball in. No one going anywhere. Ball up.
Come on, guys, stand up. Thanks, Josh. Josh, good stuff. Thanks, Matty.
Cox fights on, down to Embley, and he misses. Story of their day. That was out of the copybook. Ruckman to Rover.
It was a good play. Andrew Embley has been known to go forward and kick a goal, and I'm just surprised that the match committee of West Coast have been very stagnant in not making too many moves in their forward line. And they've got to throw things around, Jared. Maybe get Andrew Embley isolated in the goal square, because he can't kick a goal.
4 goals 11 this year though, Jacko. Is he just having a bad year, or
you're just going to try something, Dwayne, because it's not working at the minute.
They started him in defence, then they pushed him forward. Now he's in the middle, and we just saw him have a pretty average effort trying to chase Foley. So I think he needs to.
He's had 2 shots now on goal.
Make that 3, and now he knows where. 5 goals 11 for the year.
But the one thing I like about Andrew Embley, he's got good football smarts. He knows where to position himself, and I'd keep him in the forward line now and see if he can create a few more goals through general play. He's not going to be a bloke that's going to take a big pack mark. Can beat Deacon. He's a good mark overhead for his size, but he's a very clever player. And we saw at that stoppage, he got front square and had a shot on goal. Ball came out, he missed it obviously, but positioned himself well. So I'd throw him in. He's going in the midfield now, but I'd throw him in the forward line.
His ears were obviously burning, Andrew Embley. Heard us talking about his goal kicking. Sails one through. Ton of time left in this game. Stenglein can't break free with it. Cotchin does. To Bowden. Patterson. Cotchin got it from Connors. Good hip and shoulder. Little high tackle. Not paid. Nathan Brown. Back to Cotchin, who bounced up. Brown. Tuck. Front spot Hunter. Discipline spoil from behind Revolt. Down to Tuck. Chip kick. Turns it over. On the boundary line. Oh, God! The crowd brought down in the back. Tam the
Down on the boundary line, Ron. You've been watching it, keeping a silent appraisal. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, look, Jared, obviously Richmond is smashing West Coast at their speed and their skill level at the moment. But, you know, Jacko, you've obviously thought that push Embley forward, but I'd put Daniel Kerr. Daniel Kerr plays in the midfield, then comes off. Just let him go up forward and put him one out. He's got a few tricks. Obviously, they need a little bit of goal-scoring power, so put him up forward.
There's a big hip and shoulder by Kennedy. And there's that free kick. It was half a free kick.
free kick you get when you're 10 goal down. Embley, high kick. And McGuan takes the mark. So 9 goals. The margin as it stands. Chip kick. Connors can't get there. Hunter does. White. And slips.
It's a bad spot down there.
Yes. Connors. He takes it out. Not paid deliberate. Ball in.
Shown a few good signs, Connors, Jacko.
Yeah, he certainly has. They're playing well, there's no doubting that, but his ability to get in and create space and find the ball has been somewhat impressive.
White dragged down, we'll get another ball up. So the Tigers, they win here, and it puts them 1.5 wins from 6th spot on the AFL ladder. We know they're only taking it 1 game at a time, but big game for them against Essendon next week, who are also in the firing line. Embley thumps it inside 50. Off hands, McGuan. Lurking, boundary line with him. Edwards turns it over. Armstrong bounces it. Well, he rolls it through and almost through a couple and a goal. Rolled it through the legs of Moore. And luckily for him, only a behind. Bowden held up. Shields his eyes, kicks it to himself and waits. Daniel Connors. Just game number 5. Kicked 58 back in 2006 and All-Australian under-18 from Echuca. And turnover, Braun. Well, Moore was shooting his eyes from the sun, maybe. We'll give him an out, but Braun...
He's got to go for it. I'd back him.
Goes to Wirrapunda. Edged out of it, Tuck takes the mark.
Well, that's their confidence, isn't it? Michael Braun would have usually had a go there. He backs himself. He prides himself in kicking goals, Michael, but an up and under kick in the end. They can't find a target inside their 450. They're lacking confidence in trying to look for each other, take a few risks.
Kane Johnson to Bowden, who stands in the defensive goal square and lets the seconds tick. He might take it through for a behind. Well, they can do that for another 45 minutes if they like. Bowden gives the signal. Let's hold possession, boys. Lee comes from Tark. Honoured. Takes the mark.
One thing that seems to be missing, Jacko, from the Eagles at the moment is just that raw intensity that we've come to associate with this group of players. I know there's some young players in, but so Richmond's got a lot of young players in as well. You don't see it in their running, you don't see it in their tackling, you don't see it in anything outside of when the ball's in a 1 metre circle.
Oh, it's just that confidence to be able to do that. They did have that at the best in the competition, and that's where their list is at the minute. They've got some experienced premiership players, but they've got some young kids out there that probably don't know the trade as yet. And St Patterson now they're certainly dictating the terms, Richmond's match committee to West Coast, because they've got Dean Cox at full back.
Richmond almost playing against the sun at the moment. They're stagnant with their ball movement, but they can't look forward. Ball out of play. 101 to 49 after the West Coast led by 11 points at quarter time. Shadows lengthening at Subiaco and dark clouds hovering over the West Coast Eagles. Deledio slips the handball to Edwards to Cochin. Couple of options. Patterson, there's confidence, runs off Cox, kicks the pass toward Connors. Nikoski sees it out. Get a ball in. Out on the bench, Daniel Connors. First game for the season. Cox and Patterson. Nathan Brown tried to break through initially. Selwood almost a push in the back. Jones, Glass, a little fumble. Stolen by White. He can kick the goal himself to Cochin. Got it told him. That's all you need. Good team goal.
Well, so much is their confidence. One of their most sure players in the back half is Darren Glass. And we saw the fumble, and the ball just got rushed back. And their pressure, they knew they were going to kick this goal. They just stayed, kept the ball alive in their forward line. Weight of numbers in the end. Good goal.
He likes a goal, Cochin. He's in the right spot. He's going to dish off plenty in his day, but he likes putting them on the board, and that's a beauty. It's going to be another very fine game.
It's a rest for his trouble, Trent Cochin. Some say Carlton should have taken him, pick one. Carlton took Matthew Cruiser, and Richmond took him, pick two. His work rate's been spectacular again today. From the ball up, Embley steals it, runs into trouble. Ebert, caught by Brown. Braun, Stengline, Embley, and now Kerr. Can take off because Foley slipped. He can go all the way, Daniel Kerr. Bowden comes at him. Hands to Hanson. The 1-2. Back to Kerr.
Missed it.
Nearly missed everything.
Just a bit casual on the kick in the end.
Still, it's the best passage of play I think the Eagles have produced for 40 minutes. Got the ball wide and Roll maybe onto something, getting Daniel Kerr forward to the midfield.
Newman Bowden.
That's it, Ed.
Schultz.
Hang on.
And still playing against the sun in this third term. Bowden. Oh, they come to the shadows. Clever. Moore. Bowden. Uncontested possession for Schultz.
And every year, Dwayne, there's a number of sides that end up in a position like the West Coast where, despite the fact they're only in round 15, the end of the season can't come quick enough. They've just got to start again, rebuild, get some kids. And anybody who wants to extend the season to 26 weeks, I don't think has ever played in a club that is in the sort of hole that the Eagles are in.
Oh, it's just evident there. 2-on-1 West Coast. Tim Houlihan and Ryan Davies out there just needed to win the contest, but their commitment's good. John Morse will be happy with that, but they gave the free kick away, and that takes game time and experience to just seize up the opportunity out there.
Wills, the crumb, Jones, too high, and a hold, and it'll be a free kick to Tyson Stegline downfield. Played 25 minutes third term. Even. Not too sure what that was, but cut off by Revo. The 1-2 with Tuck. Back to the 1-2-3 with Foley. Hands to Bowden, who's left the defensive goal square. Gets a kick for his trouble. Not sure they'll count it, but it did hit his foot. Knocked out by Patterson to Tuck. Deledio knocks it down. Bowden shoots it out. White. Dragged down and mauled.
Yeah, that's a good decision. Too often the umpires don't give genuine prior opportunity, and that is no chance to get rid of that footy.
He glassed him.
He did.
With that handball from the ball up. Deledio tries to rake it free. Press.
Having a very quiet day in comparison to 2 weeks ago. Just 11 touches.
Lynch. The pass to McKinlay. Open forward line for the West Coast. If he hurries up. Hands off to Lynch. You can give it back or load up long. Pokes the pass and cut off by Bowden. Thumped it clear to McMahon. Sold the dummy to Prentice and almost turns it over. Midfield. Well played. Bit of work by Davis. Lynch. Kerr. Nikoski. Another promising build-up. Hansen on the end of this. Can't mark it. Revolt side by side. Hansen gets the kick away, but it's across the face. Behind.
Well done by Davies in the middle of the ground. You mentioned it, Jared, but that's what you want in the young kids. He just kept going with the flight of the ball, won the possession, and put his body on the line. And he's one of only a few that have done it.
And the lights are on. Just in front of the big light.
Yeah, let's hope they don't turn that one off.
Not for a while.
Foley. Inside 3 minutes to three-quarter time. And he plays on. Into the sunshine. It's been shining on Richmond all afternoon, and Foley is having a spectacular day at the office. Hands off to Connors. Low trajectory to Tambling. Newman gathers the crumb. Sends the pass to the goal square. Hughes runs into Morton. Gathered by Polo. Fends off. Shrugs a couple. And can't nail the goal. The bounces, but not quite through for a goal. Only a behind. So it becomes a mini elimination final next week for Richmond, presuming, of course, they hold on to win this one. 10-goal lead against the Bombers. Two teams snapping at the heels of those in the top 8. Nikoski. Chip kick after we thought the Tigers season was going to end in nothing. It might end in something beautiful. Welks wide. Off hands. McKinlay couldn't take it. Moore does.
Yeah, Richie will be back.
Revolt.
It's just hard to assess how they're travelling given the paucity of the opposition.
We're just taking it 1.5 games at a time here at the moment.
You can only play against who they put out, and the Tigers' run and skill level has just been so much better than we've seen it for some time.
Simmons. Wide. Morton tunnelled. And he's landed on his back. And the ball out of play. The man they won't get back, but one of the men they're playing for. In many respects, he's watching at home. Graham Polak, and cheerio to him, watching from his hospital bed. And they said they'd turn it on for him, and they certainly have, the Tigers. Edwards kicks another one.
Well, Jared, goals can sometimes come easy, but that's one of the easiest clearances that come through the legs of a couple of West Coast players. You have to be more desperate in the goal mouth, knowing whether you're 2 points down or 10 goals down. The desperation by West Coast, they were just ball watching the ball. It's only 25 metres outside of the Richmond goal. There's no desperation, urgency. Dive on the ball, make the umpire make the decision he's going to play holding the ball, but lack of urgency there.
114 to 51. Who'd have thought? Although, as we said in the opener, the Tigers did win by 10 goals here against Fremantle in round 4.
Richmond, help his arm.
The Tiger free.
Give it to him.
Still time to add to this lead.
So just that midfield of the Tigers continues to become more impressive. Foley's had a really big day. Cochin's been excellent, as we know. Another one added this year. Delidio getting better.
Last boots White had the advantage in both height and experience there. Prentice takes on Tambling and wins. Mikoski.
It's too much backward handball.
Houlihan had started like this in the opening minute.
And what it does, it puts the forwards out of position. They make a lead, then they've got to dart back, and they lead into a created space. So they're not doing the forwards any good, and it's just non-productive football.
Hanson thumps it long, hoping for one last chance. Patterson flies.
He's been one of the, it's maybe his best game for the Tigers today.
We talked about Graham Polak out, but the responsibility for Patterson and Simmons now rises a little to carry this team into the finals, or at least into next week against Essendon in the finals chance. Polo caught. Umpire was about to pay something and heard the siren. Three-quarter time at Subiaco. More stunned silence than time in their illustrious history. From the bounce, final term underway. Richmond keeping their finals hopes alive. Cochin to Simmons. Thumps it long. Morton flies and Wilkes. Good mark. Strong hands. Cox peels off. Players were having trouble with the sun in that third term. Cox lopes along the outer side. Shortish. Thumped away from Kennedy. Back in the Simmons direction. Cox to Kerr, who hasn't been reported yet, but the match review panel will have a long, hard look at his hit. He may be in trouble for a couple of weeks. Cox. Even. Short pass from Jones, and Lynch takes the mark. Crowd want him to go for it. Thumps it up the square. Hanson. Front spot. Takes the mark.
Well, they know they can do that. Well done, Quinton. And sometimes it's criticised for over-kicking it and probably blazing away, but did the discipline thing. Backed one of his teammates in, Ash Hanson, who's a very good overhead mark. Put it to the top of the square, but got him one-on-one with his direct opponent. That's what you need to do.
Try and wallpaper over a few cracks in this final term, the West Coast. Hanson goals to start the term nicely.
Well, in fact, that's all you can do when you're in a position like the West Coast, and that is get the wallpaper out and try and save something for the match for yourself individually and for the team. And it's not a bad start. Ash Hanson hasn't had much of a season, had some injuries. He's got to just get his hand on the ball between now and the end of the year and see if he can get a bit better luck and a bit better crack at it with a decent pre-season and a good run of games next season.
It's always been a bit of a chicken and the egg with Ashley Hanson, injuries and form. Get an injury, you can't train, your form drops off. It'd be nice to see him have an injury-free year because he has been ravaged.
Thanks, Richard.
Knee problems, hamstring problems, had a finger, a groin, had a shoulder reco as well. His second year, a little bit of osteitis pubis. from the ball up. Cox.
What you're saying, Dwayne, is there's a surgeon driving around Perth with a Mercedes-Benz that should send him a Christmas card.
I think his wife's got one as well. Embley taps it out, but Edwards steals it. Tambling, Johnson, Foley. McMahon, who's been inspiring this afternoon.
It's a poor chase by Leclerc. He's limping, but he had to chase his direct opponent.
Newman to Brown to the goal square. Morton down there. Good fist from Nikoski. Doesn't thump it out though. White. Revolt had a big day at the office. Can't continue it. Selwood takes the mark. Last line of defence for Kerr. Selwood.
In fact, if you're looking for an indicator as to how the side's going, Jack, I can't remember one run down from behind from a West Coast player. Not one chase from the forward line player, even midfield running back into defence. It's just been that sort of day.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
Selwood.
And that's the pressure that's been coming from the Tigers.
Kennedy with the handball out, but missed the target. Schultz. Gee, they've got players free here. It's a matter of raffling it. Newman spears the pass to Revolt. Feeds back onto it. Unselfish. Brown thumps it out of the arena. He's kicked it over the roof.
Best thing I've ever seen Jack Rewell do at this club. I've seen him take a lot of big marks. I've seen him kick a lot of good goals. But his instinctiveness to just get the ball and handball to a player in a better position when he could have easily kicked the goal himself, when he could have run in and just made hay while the sun is clearly shining on this one-sided match, says to me that that young man is now a quality footballer.
There's a Sharon on the freeway. Brown has 4. Revolt has 4. And Richmond have 4. 4 points, that is. Kerr in the number 4. And a wing tackle, dragged down, gone.
Let him go now. Trent Cochin.
Cochin. Tambling. Morton. Drops it. And Selwood bumps him into the fence. Lucky to get away with it.
He actually dropped the chest mark. I'm sure Terry Wallace would like to see him put the hands out. Don't take the easy way out. Take a chest mark.
Morton pointing to the scoreboard. Embley gets a kick away. Bouncing ball finds Armstrong. Hanson. Just the required 15. 120 plays 57. Over the head of Kennedy. Edwards, clever pickup. Had the big man trailing him. Polo. Grant Johnson's led well, the captain. McMahon. Bouncing ball. Simmons. Back against the flow. Bowden. Sends it wide. White. Matt White gives it to his captain. Playing for survival in this team, so giving the captain possession's a good option. Wide to Tambling, and that might be out on the full. Touched. I think it touched his own hand.
Looked on the full, but on the boundary line, Smithy, you've just seen Nathan Foley come off, and he has done a lot of gut running.
Oh, Jared, I'll tell you what, he came to the bench. He called for Shane Tuck to come on, and he is absolutely spent. I was just watching him in this last quarter. First 6.5 minutes, his work ethic is unbelievable.
Kerr played it nicely, played it cleverly. Stingline thumps it to the wing. Hanson lurking. And the gather. Shepherd from Embley. Short to Cox. Nikoski. Open forward line. Sends it long. McKinlay uses the body. Moore used the fist. Thumped it down. McWan. And on the rebound again, the Tigers go. Newman takes them on. McWan. There's confidence for you. Schultz, he kicked it across the face of goal to the most dangerous spot on the ground, and they're away. Polo, open side. Simmons can have a bounce if he wants to. Just stops instead. The time's in their favour. Kane Johnson. Possession number 23 for him.
Jagger, how long do you think it's been in AFL football that a coach has said to his players after a performance like this, fellas, don't bring your boots this week, just bring your runners.
I can remember it 7 years ago, in 2001, under Ken Judge.
It's a sort of weekend, I think, that the Eagles and John Worsfold, I think, could consider just saying to the rehab guys, fellas, have a week off.
Glass to Hansen. Some more wallpaper, perhaps. He misses everything. In fact, John Worsfold ran the 42k Perth Marathon last week, didn't he?
He certainly did.
Maybe he might take them for a little stroll down that route. What did it take him? 3.29 hours or something?
One thing is, no matter how hard it was, John Worsfold was always going to finish that race. And maybe he needs to get some of these players to go and do that.
42k for the coach in 3.5 hours.
Alex Jesaulenko, when he took over as the Blues coach and went on to, I think, coach 2 flags, had one simple philosophy, that if you didn't run during the day on the weekend, you ran during the week.
I could think of better things to do on my week off. Maybe go fishing or something. Run a marathon.
Schultz. And one thing we know is Richmond's season has improved. They have improved as a club under Terry Wallace, and that's one of the good news stories out of the year, whether they make the finals now or not. Connors got it from Moore, sends it back to McMahon.
Yeah, I think they're now a club again with hope, Dwayne.
Yeah.
And that was debatable even as late as 8 weeks ago. I think they disappointed themselves and the footy world last 2 weeks ago when they lost to Carlton. But this is a fair response.
Polo to Moore to Tambling towards Revolt. Edwards got in the way. Tuck. That's a tired leg. Patterson, they all fly, they all miss it. Patterson with a hand up. Nice one. White. Brown. He spins it around the body. Almost some more gold from Nathan Brown.
Well, how embarrassing this is for West Coast is the fact that not one player is in their forward line, and Richmond is still able to find targets inside their forward 50. They've got that many numbers back, yet...
But that's the point, Jacko. There's no pressure. There's no real effort. There hasn't been since quarter time.
Cox to Ebert, and Stengline caught high by Tuck. Advantage paid. Wilkes. And now we're at Punda. Fist from Moore. It's been winning all afternoon. McMahon. Bowden. Cleve Hughes. 3 Richmond players at that front of the square when that ball got spoiled. I mean, where is Lacroix and Armstrong? I know that one of them is on the bench and out for the rest of the game with Lacroix, but that's their forte. If they're going to play football at this level and for this club, they've got to get more active and create the goals just like what Richmond have done. McGuan.
Look at McKinley's chase. That is a disgrace.
Morton. Davis caught, dragged down. Morton fights on. And we'll get a ball in. In some respects, it gets tougher for the West Coast Eagles next week as we have a look at Davis dragged down. The West Coast Eagles head to the Gabba next Saturday night and play the Brisbane Lions, who are stung at the moment. Nikoski and McKinley. Turns it over. In fact, that's how hard it is now for Richmond. They're fighting each other for possessions. That's how much they want it still, regardless of the scoreline. McGuan, Foley, Connors. Newman takes on Houlihan, wins, pokes it to Kane Johnson. He's got McMahon out wide. The look-away handball works, and he pops it to attacking 50. White. West Coast Eagles with numbers back, filling up the holes. White holds it up. 121 to 57. Short.
That was never there, that kick, but
likes to play on and misses.
And not surprisingly, Smithy, there's an interchange.
Yeah, well, Jared, you called it before and you said it was a disgrace. I actually watched it as well, and it was terrible. Have a look at that. And John Worsfold, he'll show that during the week. Whether you're tired or not, you've still got to keep chasing.
Selwood. Jones. Adam Selwood. Jacko during the week saying that had in his contract that there was another indiscretion he'd leave. How was that received?
Well, that was reported. It wasn't confirmed by young Selwood, so he elected not to really go right into the matters of his contract.
So it might have been inaccurate, you're saying, as he gathers here on cue?
Well, the club has not confirmed it, nor the player. I mean, it's obviously leaked out. There's something in his contract regarding it, so...
How does that stack up if the AFL investigates him again? Cox. Chips it inside 50, where Punda gets there. Can't take the mark. Connors, wrapped up. Patterson, Johnson, Connors, Moore.
Just on Ben McKinlay, Jacko, I know we had a crack at him there for a pretty average effort, but he's a guy that's not quite big enough to be a key forward. But if he actually got on his skates over the summer period and turned himself into a potential midfielder of sorts, somebody who could go into the middle for a period of time like a Koutafidis could and then go forward, he may actually build a career for himself.
Well, he's got to add that to his game. There's areas like that. His defensive side is one area that they do criticise him about and constantly ask him to work on it.
Well, he's just not fit. You could see that. He's not used to running when he's fatigued.
Newman. 14 minutes gone now, final term.
I won't say it's fitness. I think it's a state of mind.
Foley shoots the handball out. Now Patterson can continue to run here. No one's coming at him. And he pokes it to White.
And he had a good game. Big Adam Patterson. He's had plenty of ball around the ground. More than he gets on average. 15 possessions. He's had his role in the ruck. He's played a different role today.
Straight up there and let over, mate.
Matt White hasn't kicked a goal yet. Not bad off the boot. More cream on the cake.
Okay, Jacko, let's get down to the real serious aspects of the Tiger trip over here. Just having travelled with the Tigers back from Freo, it seems that they have 3 or 4 spots up the front of the bus for those that play well. Now, who are you going to give it to, given that half the Tiger list has played outstandingly and the rest have played well? I'll let you ponder it. I'll let you ponder it.
Foley, definitely. I'd put Brown out there as well. Jack, he's going to be up there. And I'll decide my last one in a minute.
37,085. At least that's how many were here. A few departing now, and fair enough too. 128 to 57. We'll show you the ladder at the end of this game, but at the moment it is touch and go as to whether the West Coast Eagles have dropped the bottom spot.
And you're speaking about the ladder. I mean, these players, they run the risk of being at the bottom of the ladder tonight. Now, they've got to dig in here. I know there's not much long to go, 7 minutes, but in 7 minutes, Richmond have showed in the second quarter they can kick 5 or 6 goals.
And that certainly would put them bottom of the ladder. Braun. Caught by Tuck. Still in dispute. Rewalt. Dump. Braun. Dumps him. Working to the theory it's better to burn out than it is to rust. Michael Braun fighting it to the end after announcing his retirement. There's Richmond's next 4. Essendon, Brisbane, Geelong and Adelaide, who are struggling at the moment and have some injury worries as well. White weaves his way through and caught.
It's going to be a horrible finish for Michael Braun if he went out on this note.
Yeah.
The trouble is, if these performances continue, you may make the decision that I'm not sure whether it's that much value having in there for experience.
Houlihan to Prentice. Run down but got the kick away. Hanson can't complete the mark. And the ball taken out. At the same time, it's deliberate. At the same time, you don't really want to reward players with games if they don't deserve games. Young players, that is. If they're not ready or they haven't been playing well, they shouldn't get a game by default. We're a Punda tucked into the boundary line.
So much their confidence and they've lost their way a little bit. Matt Prentice is usually a good ball user. Got the ball, elected to bounce straight away. David Warapunda was free inside the 50 with no man on him, but he didn't look to go to him.
The kick bends. There's been one bright light, David Werpunda.
Well, you mentioned that, and he's a player that needs to stand up and show leadership. He's wanting another contract, wants to play on next year, and given his season this year that's been tough, I'd certainly be probably rewarding him for his service, but one that he needs to rebuild this football club back and show some leadership for his teammates.
There's his numbers for the afternoon, which can't end quick enough for the West Coast. Foley, hands off to Tuck.
He's in a blinder, Foley.
Wide again. His form hadn't been spectacular. It had been good, but it's been spectacular again this afternoon. Nathan Foley, Kerr knocks it on cleverly. Armstrong, they can get two in a row here. Inside 50, Werpunda, big fist from Moore.
And he's been one of the big improvers for the Tigers this year. Kelvin Moore slowly continues to get better, and he's a very reliable defender.
Armstrong quick to full forward. Wirra can't get there. Moore, not quite as reliable there. Werpunda gets one for too high, and he can kick his third.
Well, the big punch from Moore actually missed.
Didn't play last round, and a great servant of the club. 13th season, David Werpunda. Debut back in round 5 in '96. Pre-draft compensatory pick, and he has 3.
That was a good goal. Good free kick for him because he put his head over the ball. But Brett McKinlay, he's got to just get a bit more physical in just holding his direct opponent out in an earlier contest. And just allow his direct opponent to come over and spoil David Werpunda. But earned himself a kick, back-to-back goals.
That was amazing, though. Kelvin Moore should have a look at that. The reason he got done was because he tried to change the ball in his support hand.
And with these teams just outside the 8, threatening to jump inside, like Richmond and Essendon, both Western Australia and South Australia might be without a team in the finals this year. Adelaide's form on the wane as well. The AFL was going to launch an investigation into Victorian football a year ago. Might have to launch one into non-Victorian footy. Tuck pokes it inside 50. Deledio. Shivers down the spines of Richmond supporters when he hurt his knee earlier today. He hobbled off, was helped off, spent time in the rooms.
It's amazing.
The tape on, the tape's off.
Well, you can get some pretty acute pain in the knee, and it dissipates. And let's hope there's nothing going to happen when he cools down. But he's come back really well.
Has he what? And continues to grow as a player.
Plenty to like about the Tigers. I mean, even Richard Tambling, he's been a slow burner, he's been a slow cooker, but he's starting to put in performances that will justify an early selection. Obviously, he's going to be haunted by the Buddy Franklin factor, but that's okay. He's got to build a career in his own right and not be worried about the shadow of a Franklin. It wasn't his decision to go before him, and I think he just continues to prove that he's going to be a quality player in a good midfield.
2 goals for Deledio. 134 to 69. From the ball up. Simmons pushed. At the conclusion of this, we'll show you the ladder, exactly where the West Coast are. They do drop to last. Give you a look at next week as well, because the pointy end of the season not far away now. It's hotting up. And there's a rush on to get a couple of spots in the 8. Kane Johnson on the end of a spear. And he can kick his first of the afternoon.
Sound clearances to Richmond have been 19-5, so there's been obviously a number of secondary bounces. But of the 19 they've won, I reckon at least a dozen have come without any resistance whatsoever, Jacko.
Fair point.
12 separate goal kickers for the Tigers. Kane Johnson's on the list now.
It's a big game.
And the other thing with that, Jared, is their goal kicking's been fantastic today. 22-8, 30 shots on goal. But this is where foot skills is a state of mind. No matter how tired you are, we've seen in games in the last quarter the skills and errors really set in because the players have really gone hard for it for 3 quarters. Yes, that is an element, but this Richmond side, their skills have been fantastic from about the second quarter right through, and they're just hitting targets inside 50 has been fantastic and part of their game.
13 separate goal kickers for the Tigers have kicked their 22 goals. Kane Johnson gets a rest for his trouble. If Terry Wallace could take them all off and put them in cotton wool, I'm sure he would. There can only be danger in this last 4 minutes. There's Terry, Brian Royal, his right-hand man there at the corner of your screen. Players dive in, seconds continue to tick. We'll get another ball up. West Coast Eagles won the last 2 battles between these 2 clubs. Smashed Richmond both times last year, really. And what a turnaround in fortunes it's been for the West Coast Eagles Footy Club. Richmond on the rise, and they've been ships passing in the night.
West Coast have won the last 7 games against Richmond, so they turned the tables in a big way today, Richmond.
Stephen Armstrong, who featured so prominently in the grand final victory a number of years ago. Right now, Jackie, you'd have to say be fighting for his career.
Yeah, certainly. Just hasn't been able to go on with it. And he's a player that he threatens well. He knows where the goals are, but that's the job. That is his job. He needs to kick more goals. He needs to have more of an impact in the game.
See if he can kick one here. Nice off the boot. Has it got the carry?
It has.
It has. That's his first.
And plus he's got that role with Lecra. I mean, both at the start of this game in the first quarter looked threatening. 3-prong attack. We mentioned the 3 tools up there. And it was a day for them where they could really excel if they were going to the tall players, but it certainly hasn't come to fruition for them.
A high-scoring game in many respects. 22 goals to Richmond. Neither of these teams have a player in the top 15 of the AFL goal-kicking ladder. But they shared it around the Tigers. Cochin. Connors has been good. Simmons likewise. Foley outstanding, as we've said. And now Revolt's almost been the best of the lot. Can't take the mark.
Tigers have got 9 players who've had 20 possessions or more. Jordan McMahon the highest with 32. And Troy Simmons has had 21 as a ruckman, so pretty fair effort. Dean Cox 23, resting on the bench.
And they've had 22 with 10 or more, Jared, which is a good share of the workload, good spread amongst their players.
Just got it away in time. Quentin Lynch hassled by McMahon, who continues to work hard. Tolo, he breaks free. He tries to give it up unselfishly. Foley got it back from Tuck. Goal square, good fist Revolt. Fights on, could have given that one up. And it's taken out by Bo Wilkes, and not deliberate. Ball in. Crowd wanted a free there. For a push in the back, or... Yep. And the ball in. Tuck thumps it down. Kerr, boundary line lurking. Morton ties him up. The crowd reaction will be interesting in 2 minutes' time. About half the stadium empty now. Half have stuck around. Tuck, Morton, Deledio. Polo dived in, ducked, but got it. Brown. Cochin. Handball to the umpire, he got out of the way. Tambling threw it to himself. Newman.
Did a big game, Newman.
White. And he chips it back inboard and Cochin takes it. That's a bad history here as well. Chris Newman punctured his lung and broke his ribs at Subiaco against Freo last year. Been a handy turnaround in fortunes for him here. 20 possessions this afternoon. Trent Cochin, who could yet win the NAB Rising Star Award for this year. Slices it through. Inside a minute to full time.
Mentioned it many times during the course of this evening, Jerry, but they're kicking for goal and their foot skills. But they're able to hit targets. I mean, lack of pressure West Coast, yes, that's been a factor for 3 quarters, but somewhat embarrassing for them when they are able to find targets inside their 450, knowing that West Coast had one man backward of the centre, backward of the square the other way. So they had 17 players inside their defensive 50, yet they can still find targets. That is amazing.
Well, we often look at clearance figures, but the figure that generally indicates how the game's going is more scores from clearances. Well, it's indicating it pretty well today. It's 14 goals to 5 from clearances, and that'd be nearly a record, I reckon, 14 goals from clearances in one game.
Tambling, as you said, has been a live wire to White. Kick from 45. Revolt!
Big game.
It'd be a fitting end.
Tell you what, it's been a big weekend for the Revolts.
Yes.
Yes, anything Cousin can do, I can do better. Jack Revolt for goal number 5 to finish this game off in style and push this margin out to the biggest margin of the game on the siren. He can make it 77 points. That's what he has in front of him. He's kicked 4 straight so far. He has 5 straight and his best ever afternoon at the office.
One other thing I don't want to mention about Jack, he's taken the opportunity to shine when a bloke like Richo is out, and he's stood up, he's taken a bit of leadership here and he's grown into the role, because we know Richo's not going to be there forever, and sometimes when Richo's there, a player like him may not have the opportunity, but he's taking the game on, and he's going to grow into a very, very good player.
Five-goal afternoon for Jack Revolt after he came into this game with 14 goals for his career. Game number 19 for him. Playing out the final seconds here. 152 to 75. 77-point margin, the biggest margin of the game. And the West Coast Eagles tonight, we'll show you the ladder shortly, might be bottom of the AFL ladder and a favourite to win their first ever wooden spoon. 152 to 75 as the siren sounds. 6 losses in a row now for the West Coast Eagles. John Worsfold said they would try, they would experiment, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The West Coast Eagles are the downside. The upside today, Richmond